Hello Internet, Taliesin here, and today we are talking Zandalar, home of the Pinkamid, the Longboy and the Fox Furry, the continent where we've all probably spent the most time in BFA, whether we be Horde players, leveling and rep farming, or Alliance players, raiding and ganking. It's all been about the Zandalar, and yes, just like Kul Tiras, the home of the Zandalari trolls is without question one of the most beautifully designed and realised locations in the whole of the game. That's definitely true, and there's a lot that I like about Zandalar for sure, like Kragwa, dinosaurs, Kragwa, sexy blood trolls, beautiful music, and Kragwa. But don't let any of that shit fool you, okay? Because this place is terrible. It's seriously the absolute worst, and it needs to get in the sea. And yes, I know loads of it sank in the Cataclysm already. I am a professional WoW YouTuber, you know. What I mean is the bit that's left that didn't get in the sea needs to get in the sea with the rest of it that already got in the sea, with the exception of possibly Kragwa. Because honestly, Zandalar is the worst place ever, and here's why. Here are 12 things you hate about Zandalar, okay? Go, 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 go. So, dear watcher, it may not surprise you to learn that a huge majority of our points today come from the Pinkamid at the centre of the zone, Dazar'alor. It's where the king lives. It's where the bank, scrapper, mission table and portals are, and where most of the Horde storylines kick off from, making it the centre of Horde operations. And it's most likely where you, my sweet innocent little Horde player, have your Hearthstone set to right now. It's the Horde equivalent of Borealis, but while Borealis is a cleverly centralised hub with all important points of interest conveniently placed a short jaunt around it, Dazar'alor is an absolute mind-shagging nightmare hellscape. And I know you're expecting me to say it's the stairs I hate about the Pinkamid, but actually I don't mind them so much. They look great, and climbing up those bastards all day is clearly the reason the spectacularly thighed Zandalari trolls are in such great shape, with Chad King Rastakhan in particular proving that it's impossible to miss leg day when a million steps mean every day is leg day. So no, believe it or not, the stairs aren't my problem with Dazar'alor. It's literally everything else, like the main culprit undoubtedly being the ride to the docks. Because whereas an afternoon in the life of your average Alliance player involves, well, writing a long post about high elves on the official forums probably, but then spawning in Snugharmer Inn before a casual stroll to the scrapper, calling into the local vendors for a little chat on your way to buy your reroll tokens before stopping off at the mission table for a bit, or maybe an island expedition. Oh no, sorry, can't do the island expedition. The new Warfront just popped. Let me head to the bank, which is only maximum 10 seconds away from here, and whoops, almost forgot to open my weekly Mythic Plus and PvP boxes. Silly me. For Horde players though, it's more a case of tough shit, scrub lord. You want to check out your mission table? Time for a 10-hour flight down to the docks then, dickhead. But don't worry, it's totally worth it, because apparently there's someone who sells reroll tokens down here somewhere too, if you can ever find them. Oh wait, what's that? You need something from your bank? Well, back on the Pterosaur for you then, and I hope you don't need anything scrapping, because that shitting thing is literally nothing else at all. And hey, you want to queue for a Warfront or island now? Well, I hope you like flying, you wanker, because it's back down to the docks for you. Wait, you did remember to open your weekly cache before you left, didn't you? No? Well, back on the Dino Flyer and eat shit then. And yeah, that's just your Mythic Plus chest. Don't even bother asking where your PvP stuff is, because literally no one knows. No one has ever found the Horde PvP guy. This is an artist impression of the Horde PvP guy, because no one has ever seen him in real life. Shit, even the entrance to the Battle of Dazar'alor, the raid, which is set in this Horde capital, has a more convenient entrance for Alliance players than it does for Horde, which is taking the faction war piss, frankly. And don't get me wrong, okay, because this city is so beautiful and real feeling, it makes me weep. I love all its little nooks and crannies. There are still parts of the surrounding area I'm discovering for the first time, even now. But seriously, would it have killed you to put an innkeeper on the shitting boat, Blizz? Really? Would that have broken your empty heart? And yeah, I know there's the Hosen Throne, but A, that's not actually near to anything really, and B, no. And the really annoying thing about all this is that the solution is obvious. And this big round solution's name is Kragwa, who could jump down to the docks in a fraction of the time, and I promise I won't talk about Kragwa anymore, sorry. Speaking of dinosaurs, you know who else I hate? The Lower. I mean, obviously not Kragwa, because he's amazing. No, I mean the two Lower that have their temples dotted around the Dazar'alor, which are supposed to help you get about the place, which sounds useful in a city which is almost 100% vertical, doesn't it? But actually, these two are as utterly shit as their names suggest. Pa'ku is so useless that most of us chose a raptor called Gonk instead, because okay, his name might be Gonk, but at least he's a raptor. Can you imagine being a Lower so trash that players opt for someone called Gonk over your services? So yeah, well done Gonk, I choose you, but don't get too excited, because I truly hate you. And do you want to know why? It's because when I chose you as my Lower Gonk, you promised me little Gonk statues everywhere that would give me a speed boost when I passed them. Oh, that'll be good, I thought. What with the Pinkamid being absolute torture to traverse, getting a nice little speed buff every time I pass a Gonk statue will be really helpful. Might even put me in a good enough mood to forget temporarily that I genuinely chose to worship a Lower called Gonk. Gonk. But it's all a big shit lie, because yeah, you get a 40% speed buff when you get near one of these little knobs, but only if you're on foot. If you're mounted, then you get no benefit from them at all. And obviously you are mounted because you're miserably running around the city equivalent of the last scene of Labyrinth. Why would I not be mounted, Gonk? In what backward mountless world is this even slightly useful for seriously like anyone at all? Oh yeah, thanks for your amazing gift of being able to move around the place significantly slower than if I was mounted. You obviously put a lot of thought into that one. I hate it. Take it back and shove it up your Gonk. The raptor mount that I ride around is 1,000 times more useful than the actual god of the raptors, because you are a shit raptor, Gonk. You are not a clever girl. You are the least clever girl. And another thing that Dazar'alor can go dick itself for is its terrible sanitation. I mean, this is a city with an actual trash lower, but it's not even the trash I'm worried about, to be honest. It's the dead bodies littering the streets. Because the story that players experience as they level through Zandalar is actually really cool, and it leads all the way up to Zul and his rebel army attacking the king's seat with the help of the newly born old god servant Mithrax, who blasts the third and final seal the palace is built around to release the sort of not really synthetic old god Gahoon. And if you've completed this quest chain, then Dazar'alor is phased to show this damage. There's a big crack in the seal, and it's not slowly churning around like it is for new players. And all of this is great. The events that you perpetrate or witness as you progress through the story make noticeable changes to the environments around you, and this is cool. This kind of shit is awesome. GG Blizz, nice one. And after first seeing the climactic cinematic, it made perfect sense that there were dead rebels strewn around the entrance to the palace in the aftermath of the battle. But I'm not being funny, that was over 3 months ago. Why are they still here? You're telling me that we can clean up the mess of an entire fleet being firebombed in the time it takes to load out of the Dazar'alor raid, but we can't clean up some dead trolls? We don't even have to burn or bury them or anything that takes any effort. These are forsaken soldiers keeping guard right next to them. Servants of the Horde war chief, Sylvanas, who took all of about 5 seconds to raise whole armies of dead Alliance and Horde soldiers at the Battle of Lordaeron. Why is she letting these perfectly good specimens with their excellent powerful thighs go to waste? Or actually, never mind Sylvanas, why hasn't one Sandy raised them? In the last raid, he's all like, hey mon, yeah, I'm gonna do the accent, hey mon, I gonna be raising all the dead to help fight back the Alliance, but not these guys suck and I'd be tired after raising all the others, they can just stay where they are. Why are they still here? Why are they still here? And while we're talking about the Horde and their place in the world, it's kind of impossible not to get the feeling as a Horde player gallivanting around BFA that a lot of what you're doing is a little bit, well, look, I don't want to say evil, that's a very strong word, isn't it? But in the absence of a better word, what is the most flat-out evil thing that the Horde have done this expansion, do you think? Could it be the big tree they burned with all the civilians inside? Maybe the necromancy or the chemical warfare? Nope, nope, and nope. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Exhibit A, lower your standards. The world quest that sees you playing pranks on Raptari priests in their own temple, by the way, by desecrating their places of worship. And then when they get justifiably angry about that, killing them. Yeah, I'm just going to repeat all that just in case we didn't quite get it the first time. Us, the Horde player, a guest in the city of Dazar'alor, waltz into a place of religious worship, vandalize it just for the lols, and then murder the religious leaders who try to stop us. This isn't just a morally questionable world quest, okay? This is a literal hate crime against our own side. And honestly, I am so disgusted by all this that I'm very close to not partaking in it at all. But honestly, I really need those 45 war resources. So yeah, sorry, innocent priest troll dude, but you're going down, mate. But in fairness, it's not just Horde that have a tough time in world quests in Zandalar. Don't forget the Alliance submarine nightmare in Nazmir. Whereas other incursion events end in the dramatic bombast of jumping off a burning airship as it explodes behind you in epic badassery, here we instead get to pilot a submarine through a lonely sea very slowly. Now, I thought long and hard about why this quest feels so clunky, because it should be really cool, and I think it's the submarine's poxy rate of fire that does it for this quest, because guaranteed some other twat is going to hit that floaty squid thing before you do, even though you fired your torpedo over half an hour ago, it just hasn't got there yet. And God forbid you fire that big bomb at anything else by mistake out of sheer boredom because it has like a 6-year cooldown or something. And it does kind of spoil the big invasion climax if you're sitting in front of the carrier doing nothing for minutes at a time because you accidentally used it on a goblin with a spear a little while ago. Oh, and while we're in Nazmir, let's wonder out loud for a bit whose idea it was to have an entire zone made out of puddles that may be shallow enough to run across or may be so deep that you need to swim, but there's no way of knowing either until you actually run into it. Yes, all the new fog effects look awesome, awesome, well done, but I can't see them through the tears of blood welling up in my eyes through the sheer rage I feel trying to run through this stupid zone. The Zul'jin flight point is so ashamed to be associated with Nazmir that it tries to fool everyone into thinking that it's in a different zone completely, and when even your own flight points deny knowing you, you are doing something wrong as a zone, okay? And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but Taliesin, you can always use a water strider. That's what they're for after all, and you're right, but F you, okay? Because if I wanted to use my water strider, I wouldn't have spent all season procuring this glorious roly-poly thick hippo boy, would I? Screw you, Nazmir, and screw your shitty puddles. And of course, it's worth noting, that's one of those complaints that won't age very well, because as soon as patch 8.2 comes around, we'll all be able to fly anywhere we like, and none of us need ever sink in a sneaky shit puddle ever again. And the same could be said for King's Rest, a dungeon that I really like. It's awesome, but which makes it onto this list because I literally have to run through another dungeon to get there. For the entire first month of BFA, I used to regularly die just getting to this dungeon, okay? Which might say more about me and my non-existent sense of direction than anything else, but it's the principle of the thing. Oh, and I see you over there in the corner, Vol'dun, with your head down, hoping we've forgotten about you, but we haven't forgotten about you, you big sandy shit bucket, because please can we have a little chat about your flight points? And look, I get it, okay? It's a big desert, innit? Vast, open expanses that have to be walked across for days, and I should say that visually, geographically, I think Sandland is probably my favourite of all of the Horde zones, by far. I mean, it's stunning in completely different ways at different times of the day. Bravo! So what I'm saying is, I understand the thinking behind having 0 flight points actually in the middle of the zone where the actual desert is. I understand why you made that creative choice. I really do. But that still doesn't change the fact there are no flight points in any central part of this zone, and that can go suck a big one as far as I'm concerned. This is 2019, Blizzdick. I need my instant gratification. How am I supposed to enjoy killing a world boss if I can watch an entire episode of Russian Doll in the time it takes me to walk there? But that's not even the worst thing about the Vol'dun flight points, is it? Because don't forget, this is the zone with the absolute most brutal war mode camp spot in the whole of the game, Sanctuary of the Devoted. Every time I travel to this campsite of the damned, it feels like a total roll of the dice whether I get to land peacefully and go about my day, or whether there will be 500 of the very bravest members of the opposite faction lying in wait to rip me to shreds, whether I'm Horde or Alliance. And often there's not even a reward at stake here, they are literally just doing it for the lols, and I know that's true because I've done it for the lols myself on more than one occasion. I know these people are evil because I am often one of those evil people. In fact, Sanctuary of the Devoted is a very apt name because these dickheads are devoted to ganking. Oh yeah, and the fact that this is one of the most annoying corpse runs on the continent is just an extra shiny piss-taking cherry on your massive shit cake. Still not convinced? Well, how about the stupid path through the temple itself, which is just long enough for you to stay mounted until like a foot before you get outside again, so that every time you run through this, you think, this is the time I'm actually going to make it through this stupid tunnel without dismounting, and every time you are wrong, and every time a little piece of you dies. Seriously, burn this shit down, okay? And we will finish our little shit stroll through Zandalar today with a return to Dazar'alor. Yeah, that's right, we are right back where we started, because it's so full of stuff I hate that we had to come back and hate it some more with the Battle for Dazar'alor raid. And fair play, because I think this is a really good raid. I think genuinely it will go down as one of the all-time great raids in WoW history, because it's a blast, but forget about that because it's shit, and here's why. I have 2 titles that I'm very proud of. The Horde Slayer on my Alliance main, and the Alliance Slayer on my Horde main, because I have an incredible faction loyalty, okay? When I'm on Alliance, I want to kill all the Horde, and when I'm Horde, I want to kill all of the Alliance. That's what loyalty looks like. That's just science, you can't argue with science. But in the Battle for Dazar'alor, there are bits where you get faction changed, which is all good fun. You get cool elite PvP sets to wear. I can't use my hippo suddenly because it's an Alliance mount. My troll turns into a beautiful round hoofy boy. It's fun! Something I didn't realise in all the frivolity though, is that with Horde Slayer and Alliance Slayer being faction-specific titles, they also get swapped out, which is all very well and good, but they don't get swapped back again when you leave the raid and revert to your proper faction. And because I genuinely don't play with my character name over my head, I didn't realise that I've been walking around not with my badass stay away from me noob because you'll get wrecked edgelord title, but with some bullshit like Inquisitor, which isn't quite the image I was trying to present to the world, you know? So that can F off, but the big one, the thing I hate most, maybe more than anything else we've talked about in this video, the #1 thing I hate about Zandalar is Jaina Proudmoore. Because, okay, Alliance, you think you have it bad just because you have to pretend to be Horde for a bit and kill the most perfect video game character ever created for the sake of narrative, but honestly, you have it lucky, my friends, because the Horde get all the joys of the Jaina Ice Freeze minefield. If you're Alliance, one of the things you probably like about the Dazar'alor raid is that it's got very sensible levels of trash that don't get in the way too much between the really genuinely excellent boss fights. But it's not quite the same story for Horde, because while their blue-clad cousins are casually strolling through a few shops shopkeepers. The Horde have to contend with not just super annoying travelling slow patches on the floor that are impossible to avoid, but also Jaina herself popping up randomly to freeze players in place. And first time it happens, you think, oh, that's really cool, it's Jaina. And 100th time it happens, you think, kill me, kill anyone who made this game, but first kill me. I mean, come on, F you, Jaina. This isn't trash. This is a boss fight which you can't win and which doesn't give you any loot. And it needs to take a good look at itself in the mirror before pissing right off. And I thought this shit couldn't get any worse, but then I needed to get some footage of it for this video, and it turns out that although it's happening literally all of the time, it's apparently impossible to actually capture it on film in a satisfying way. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it, and I hate it more now than I did when I wrote this script, which I didn't think was possible, and basically BFA is the worst expansion WoW ever had. WoW is dead, the end. But what do you guys think? What have I missed out that you hate about Zandalar? What things have I mentioned that you don't personally find all that annoying? Probably because you're some kind of an idiot or something. Let us know in the comments below. And thanks for joining us today. If you like this video, don't thank me, thank our patrons who give their actual real life money to make these videos happen. And seriously, thank you guys, because without you, there would be a whole lot less Taliesin and Evitel. And if you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. Remember, my name is Bellular Gaming. Bellular Gaming. No, my name is Taliesin from me and Evitel. Until next time, cheerio.